Welcome to the Lancy podcast. Today we are talking about the FA Cup quarter-final home game against Leicester. That's happening this Sunday. Andrew, Leicester still top of the championship. In their last FA Cup games to get them to the quarter-final. In the fifth round, they beat Bournemouth 1-0 away. They beat Birmingham in the fourth round 3-0 at home. And they beat Millwall in the third round 3-2 away. Their top scorers are Vardy, Dewsbury Hall, and Mavidi. And top assists are Dewsbury Hall, can't remember how I think Fatamu, and Ndidi. What are you expecting from this game, especially as we played Leeds in the previous round of the FA Cup? And that was quite a close game. Leeds are second in the championship, and around that time they had just beaten Leicester in the championship.
Yeah, I think Leeds have always been a team, not Leeds, Leicester have always been a team that are pretty potent going forward. So I think they'll cause us problems at the back. And I think for a few years they've been suspect at the back. I'm assuming they've almost got a full new centre back, well, a full new defence because Johnny Evans has left, Fofana's left, Ciunci's left, from memory. And they've got Wout Faes, I think his name is, the Belgian, who, whenever I've watched them, has been a fucking calamity. And partly because of his hair and partly because of how much of a calamity he is, he's been referred to as a similar ilk as David Luiz. So I think
you mean an
it's not a game that
beast going forward, and you let him shag your wife? Love it.
Yeah, I don't think it's an easy game. I think we'll have to play well to win, but I think we put in a performance anywhere near what we've put in against, well, similar to what we've put in against Leeds and what we've put in against Newcastle recently. I think we'll get over the line, especially at home.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty fair assessment. I mean, I know that a lot of the traveling away fans have given the side, and especially Pochettino, a lot of stick recently. But that does not seem to be happening at home, which is a plus. And as long as you're right, as long as the results keep coming in like they have been, on and off, but while we're on this train of results, I don't see an issue really. The fans at home are normally pretty good at getting behind the team. And let's face it, with all the injuries that we've had, at least we can say that, there is some strength there now in the squad. The players that we've got coming on do seem to add a bit of, depth, and they do seem to give something 8 times out of 10. One person we didn't mention in the last game, I know he can't play in this game, because he's already played, ironically, for Leicester in this competition, is Casadei. Even him coming off the bench in the last game, he got stuck in, putting balls in the air. He put his feet forward in a tackle, and that's not easy coming off the bench in quite late on. And it's like he'd been on for a good half. So again, it just shows you the sort of the willingness that we have from the bench.
I was pleased to see Carney Chukwuemeka came back as well.
Yeah,
some minutes
only a few minutes, not enough to judge him on, to be fair, but it's good to see him back on the pitch. You're absolutely right.
Yeah, I think he's shown this season when he has been fit, been able to play, that he can contribute quite drastically, and he's played that wide position when we really struggle with injuries in the wide areas. And I think we both think that he can contribute quite significantly in that midfield as well. Probably in the more forward midfield role, but he's a good option off the bench that I think we've missed for a while.
Yeah, you're right. I think he's very versatile. He can play out wide. I do prefer him in the middle of the pitch, to be honest. Whether that's in what you would call the 10 role or even further back, because I think him on the ball in a counter attack running at players, he's a threat and he's got good distribution. So it's good to see him back. Hopefully he gets a few more minutes under his belt and he can finish the season strong. But I've always been happy with him ever since I saw him in pre-season. I thought for me he was one of the youngsters that we just brought in, and I thought he had a great pre-season. Unfortunately, he got injured in the third game of the season,
Mm.
West Ham, which was a real shame. But again, definitely a player there. So happy days. Should we go straight into the starting 11s then with that thing? Lovely stuff. Uh, go on. I'll let you go first. I went first last time.
Shock. Petrovic in goal.
Solid start. Solid.
And then I'm just going to go with the same back four.
Do you know what?
Game.
I was a bit like, I can't really do much more. And the other thing is as well, I forgot to say earlier on, because we've done this one so early, we don't know what the injury situation is going to be like with certain players.
I don't think anyone's that close to coming back. Like maybe Cole will be back.
That's the one that I was really thinking about. Yeah.
Yeah, but again, it is kind of a. I don't want to rush him back. Like if he plays 20 minutes at the end for a bit of fitness, and great. But with the amount of injuries we've had, and he's been sort of in and out with sort of niggly small injuries, it just doesn't feel worth it rushing him back for this game when this this defense didn't do a hell of a lot wrong on Monday night.
No, as we said, each defender arguably made a mistake.
Hmm.
Zazie maybe half a mistake, three of which were in one goal, and then Cucurella made the mistake for the second one. Overall, what I'll take it, considering that was the first time that back line played together as well. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Other than that, they had the game under control. So yeah.
I think I will have. Do you know what? I want to give Carney Chukwuemeka the first half.
Wow. You don't normally do that. You don't normally give a player coming back from injury the first half.
Yeah, I think I'm hoping he can play 45 minutes, and it'd be nice to see him play. I think he's a good opponent to see him play against. And I think Enzo's going to drop out. Oh no, Connor's going to drop out because I think he's the one that runs the most. There'll be Caicedo and Enzo playing the deep role, and then Carney in front of them.
Wow, okay.
That's Alfie Gilchrist. You're miles away.
Mate, yeah, I'm not with it right now. So we've got Caicedo. We've got Enzo. And we've got Carney.
And then I'm going to go Mudryk left wing.
Intriguing.
I'm going to go Noni right. Is Noni fit? Was he involved last week?
I think he was on the bench. He wasn't on the list of injuries that I read out for the Newcastle game.
I'm going to go Noni right wing and give Cole Palmer a rest because one, I want to see these players get minutes. And two, yeah, I just don't want to burn Cole Palmer out.
Well, it's not as if he does a lot of running. I don't mean that disrespectfully.
No, but
he offers a lot more, is what I'm saying. So I can understand you leaving Connor out for that reason, but Palmer not so much.
no, but I do think there needs to be rotation in the squad.
No, you are right.
And if you can't at home against a championship team rotate some of your better players out, give them a rest. We've got big games coming up, and like we say, our game in hands against Tottenham. That's not an easy walkover game. We need our best players fit for that.
Yeah, but when is that game?
I don't know, but what I'm saying, there's bigger games this season to actually shut. In all intents and purposes, I think we'll struggle to win the FA Cup. We are, I think, slightly better off showing some form in the Premier League, giving some minutes to players that have shown spurts, and see if we can sort of build some consistency with them if we give them minutes. and show that they are capable of being a major part of the team next season. And I think Noni's one that has shown that he has ability and could be a big part of next season. I think he's been arguably one of our better wingers this season. It's just the fact that him and Cole Palmer seem to both want to play on that right side and only play on that right side. And I feel like that's limited his minutes. Um,
No, I agree with that. Yeah, I agree with that.
so yeah, and I'll just go Jackson up top because I don't want to take the piss too much. It'd be nice to have Washington on the bench and see him get some minutes.
Be nice, yeah, but it ain't gonna fucking happen, is it?
No, but yeah, the problem is I just don't think we've been in a position where it's like if we're 4-1 up in the 70th minute, you kind of go, okay, we can give him minutes then. And I don't think we've really been in that position all that often this season.
No, we haven't. No,
So then
I don't think. I don't
kind of,
think we've been. I don't think we've been 4-1 up or 4-0 up at all in the 70th minute this season. So my only surprise with this, I get everything that you said. I don't disagree with anything that you've said. But my one surprise is you taking Cole Palmer and Conor Gallagher out. Like that for me, I feel weakens the team massively because for me personally, you're losing two players that add two different things to the team. And I don't think that we've then got someone in that's going to cover either one of those to the same standard. And therefore, I feel like we're dropping slightly. But I agree with everything that you've said in terms of giving players the opportunity and stuff. And yeah, 100% with that. I personally wouldn't take both of them out.
I get that, but I just feel like this team should be good enough to beat Leicester, right?
Oh, it should be. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm not saying it
So
should.
I think, and
Should
I
have.
don't think any of these selections is a disgrace to Leicester to a point of this player shouldn't be anywhere near the team. I think all of these players have played well and done well for us in fits and spurts, and I think they need to step up, and it's a good game to give them a chance to step up and show what they can do, and hope that they can build from it. I'm not saying that Cole Palmer won't be in the squad, and if we're struggling at half time, it's 0-0. We don't look like doing anything, or we're 1-0 down. We don't bring him on. But I just think where we are in this season and our chances of winning anything, bear in mind the teams that's still in the FA Cup, it's not a competition that I think we should believe that we're going to win this season. I think we're better off using the games that we can use to. It is a balance of trying to build confidence and trying to give players more games. And I think using the FA Cup in games where it's not a guaranteed win, you can't just completely change a whole team. But I think it's a good game with a couple of players that have shown that they've got ability when they've been given a chance to show that again. And I think it's a good opportunity where, yes, it's probably our two best players this season. And there's an argument to put Gusto in that top two, but two of our best three players this season, definitely.
Oh, by hands
Give
down,
them a
Gusto,
rest.
Connor, and Cole Palmer have been our top three players this season. Like
Yeah,
that.
I do think that if you can't rest two of your best players against a championship side, we've really fucked everything.
But I think we have fucked everything. If I'm brutally honest. Different point before we get sidetracked. Just quickly, actually, because I've just realised something in all of that talk.
Yeah.
Who are you making captain in this squad?
Don't care.
Huh?
I think it would
Sorry,
I
what?
think it would be Enzo from who's been handed the armband. It might be Trevor actually. I think I personally would actually give it to Trevor. Um,
No, I mean, I'm not disagreeing with you. I just find it ironic that one of the players that's tipped to leave in the summer is going to be given the captaincy. But I find that ironic. I don't think it's moronic, but I think it's ironic.
but
Uh,
that I
yeah.
mean, we've been doing that all season with Conor Gallagher that was tipped to leave. won him, handed the captaincy because it was still like the transfer window was still open. It, it I don't think that should mean anything. I think it's also been a sneaky tactic for certain managers to boost the transfer value of
The
certain players.
price.
Yeah,
Yeah,
to
yeah,
show
yeah.
that they've got leadership and
He does. He
they're
does
our
have
captain. We
leadership.
can't possibly lose them.
No, he does have
The
leadership.
leadership.
Absolutely. No, I agree, and that's one of the reasons why I like him.
Mm,
But yeah, right. I'll quickly move on to my team because I don't. I know we could talk about this for ages, but keep the ball rolling and keep the
yeah.
minutes down on this. Um, Again, you made very good points. I am going to take Carney out because I like him,
Okay.
but I think actually come on in the second half. Um, for that reason, and I'm also going to switch it up a little bit because I want to see Mudrick in the 10.
Yeah.
Whenever he's played there over the last sort of few games, whether it's start or coming on, different player to what we've seen out on the left. I stand by it. He gets lost out the left. It's like he doesn't know what to do. His positioning goes out the window. Um, and so does his running. So I just don't think he should play the left. I agree with Noni getting minutes, but if I was the manager, I'd be saying to Noni, you're not getting ahead of Cole Palmer on the right, but we do have a massive fucking gap on the left. So if you want to play there, because otherwise, I personally think we need to go out and buy a left winger because I don't think Mudrick wants to play there. I think he's better than number 10. I'm just not a fan of Sterling, realistically. He can do a job, but I'm sick and tired of saying that about our left back at Cucurella as well. So I'd rather have a person that is decent on the left. So give Noni the opportunity to play there is what we'll do. And he can like it or he can lump it. I will bring in Cole back into the right. Let's face it. He's on fire. Let's get those goals and assists tally up a little bit higher. See if he can sneak above Jude. And yeah, I'll keep Jackson there. Defense stays as it is. And I want to take one of these two out. I don't think he'd take Caicedo out. So I'm going to take out Enzo. And I'm going to put in Connor. As you all know, I love Enzo. I just don't see. I No, do you know what? I'm going to stick to my gut. I'm going to go with my gut. I'm doing what I think Potts will do. I'm going to do what I want to do. This is my starting 11, so I'm going to put in Enzo. Um, yeah, that's what I'm going to do, and I would then bring on Carney in the second half, um, if we can. So yeah.
But yeah, I think this is, in your opinion, the strongest 11 that we can play, which I think is
I,
bizarre against a championship team. I think naturally with our midfield and how often Connor's played and how often Cole Palmer's been playing, I do think that just like a rest would help. Our midfield has played.
I
That
don't dispute that.
midfield has played like every fucking game.
I don't dispute that. Here's my reasoning. I like Connor as captain. I think what he brings to the team in a lot of ways, he's got better and better throughout the season. I don't think anyone can criticize him anymore because he's now getting goals, he's getting assists. He can play. He's played three different positions. He played out on the left. He's played the 10, and he's played in one of the holding, like the pivot or whatever you want to call it. He's a captain. I think he's been captain more times than Chilwell and Reece James probably put together this season. You know, and if Carney Chukwuemeka had a few more minutes, then I'd be putting him in. We're talking about motivation. We're talking about keeping, the ball rolling. This will be the second game that this defensive line plays together. I don't want to mess around too much with the midfield and have us susceptible. With Connor, he's going to run around. I'd rather we get a goal, hopefully two in the first half. If we've got control of the game, then make your subs and give those boys some minutes. But if we want the ball to keep rolling, we want the momentum, then certain players are who are playing well are going to have to keep playing, you know, because we don't know about certain players. I think there's still question marks over certain players. Hang on, let me just stop sharing this. I mean, there's still question marks over certain players whether they're going to give out, the 7, 8 out of 10 performances game in, game out. And even come off the bench, are they going to get stuck in straight away? And like you said, if we want to get points in the league, and that's the main priority. Although my big question to you after this little monologue would be, where do you see us finishing now, and how does that help us if we don't go for the FA Cup, or the FA Cup isn't the priority, shall I say? But yeah, I think certain players need to suck it up, and I think Conor Gallagher is one of those players who will constantly give it his all. And if it gets to the point where he's too tired and the boss goes, "Yeah, you need to come off," you're not going to see him throw a hissy fit. He won't argue. He'll be like, "Yeah, cool, done, fair." Um, so yeah, but I just feel like we still need a bit of consistency. And right now, I just think certain players, I don't think we can afford to drop. Palmer is one of them. By all means, come on, do the business. And they go, "Yeah, do you know what? Earn your break. Get your goal, get your assist, earn your break, and then come off." Um, but I don't want to leave the back too susceptible. And also, while things are working, let's not take the piss. And we do have. If this was a midweek game, I think it'd be different. And I think, yeah, go on then, fair enough. But we've got basically a week. It's Monday to Sunday. So from that point of view, I think we can. I think we can risk it. But going back to my previous question, unless you've got anything else to add on this bit first, where do you think we can finish in the Premier League, and how does that benefit us compared to prioritizing the FA Cup and what that can give us?
I just don't think we're going to win the FA Cup.
It's a slim chance. I'm not saying we've got a great chance and we could win. We lost the League Cup. We lost the League Cup last year, and we lost the FA Cup final last year. So I get what you're saying.
And a lot of it is it gives you a what level of Europe does it get you a ticket into? Is it Europa League for the FA Cup?
Yeah, I believe so.
And part of me just doesn't want that distraction next year. I don't think you make actually at the end of the day very much money at all in the Europa League with how much international travel there is and how far you're flying
Well,
and the prize money.
we know that from the Europa Conference League, because we've already realised that actually I think we'd be making 15 million, 10 million pounds in profit after we paid for everything from
I'd be
getting it.
surprised if it's that much, and that's probably if you win it as well.
So, but then that, but
Surprised
then
much
that's,
if
but
we
then
win it.
that's my, but then that's my question. So if we're saying that we can get into the Europa League by winning the FA Cup, small opportunity. You never know who wins what draw, what get other games, and how the draws go. Um, but Arsenal are still in, City are still in, Liverpool are still in, I think. Yeah, they are. So that's three big teams already you got to play against. But then how does then going up the league table help us? Because then again, if you think about it, where do we get to? And let's face it, if we're going to get anywhere, it's surely going to be Europa Conference League or Europa League again.
I, I don't think that we're gonna. I don't think we're gonna do that. I think it's just a place that we can build momentum and put a run of results together. I don't think even a decent run of results will put us in contention for Europa Conference League. Really, we're still what 3 or 4 places off it.
Well, even if we do get Conference League, we've already, which we said if we won the League Cup, the chances were that we were going to drop out of the European competition anyway because there's no point, and also we could face sanctions due to the money that we've lost compared to what they want you to lose in Europe. That's more your department, not mine. I'm summarizing briefly. Um, but so surely, if we're going to do that anyway, surely going for a cup is big, and winning a trophy is surely more momentum to say, look what we've done, look what we can do to set us off for next season, rather than maybe finishing ninth or 7th?
Yeah, tell that to Leicester.
How do you mean?
Didn't they win the FA Cup and then go down, what, next season, the season after that?
Yeah, I think they might have done, yeah.
And I think at that level, Europe's just a distraction. Like, we've really struggled the last 2 years, and we haven't had Europe this year. I don't. Did we have Europe last year? I think we did.
Yeah, we did. Yeah,
And
we went
again,
out to Real Madrid. We went out to Real Madrid last year.
yeah, I think one, it's a distraction. It's more of a distraction than it's worth at the minute. I, you either kind of use it as a stepping stone for young players. So I think Tottenham used it quite well to bring through Harry Kane. Um, but
Sorry, you talking about the FA Cup or Europe?
Europe,
Yeah, but again, we've already established that we're not gonna be involved in Europe even if we get into it. So what I'm asking is what's the difference between potentially winning a trophy compared to getting and having a run in the Premier League where we finish 9th or 7th or whatever? Because surely a
because
trophy for me is more substantial than going, well, we finished 10th, 11th, 12th last year. We finished 7th this year, maybe.
I just think it's slightly more realistic of putting a decent run of games through in the Premier League, and also if we've got to play our best 11 100% against a championship team, that's incredibly worrying.
No, I agree with that, but I think that is honestly where we are because of A, the injuries, but B, because of how the club have bought, which we've already covered before.
But how do these players prove themselves if they don't get a chance against championship opposition? At what point do they get given an opportunity to be in that team and go stake a show that they can be in that team against a Wolves,
Yeah, fair.
then step into the team and go, I can play against Man City, I can do this. It is
No,
it's
I understand what you're
one
saying.
of very few opportunities that we've got to actually give players that are a little bit on the outskirts a game, and it's one of the opportunities that we've got.
But you're talking about
See, can we
you're
play
talking
without Cole Palmer? Can we play without Conor Gallagher? Do we have players that can slot in those holes against teams that, in theory, we should beat?
sure, but realistically, you're talking about two players.
Yeah.
Right. So and the only one that I disagreed with was Carney because I felt he's not had enough minutes potentially to start a game. Now I could be wrong. He could be fitter than I think. And then the only one that we're really discussing now is Noni. If Carney's fully fit, then I'm going, yeah, fair enough. The only reason I've not put Carney in is because he's been injured. And I don't know what his match fitness is like. Can he do a 45 minutes? I honestly don't know. He only got 10 max in the last game. I don't think he's really come on before since then. If he has, it's been a few minutes. Noni's the only one that we're talking about, or maybe Mudryk. And I kept Mudryk in. I just didn't put him out on the left because I was like, I don't think he works best there. I think he works best in the middle. So really, you're talking about Noni.
You had both
I
of them.
also kept in, and I said play on the left because I think we've got a weaker spot there. So who else could we bring in that needs game time and needs minutes? Bar Cassadai, who can't probably play, who's not allowed to play because he's cup tied. To really, or are you more talking about resting the players rather than the players coming in?
It's a mixture of both, to be honest. I think I would like to see Chukwuemeka be given a chance. I know he's just back from injury and it's more of a hopeful one. I think Noni needs to be given a chance in his position that he wants to play. I do think he's perfectly capable of playing on the other side because he's very good with both feet. But I, with the injuries that we've had, it's probably an apprehension of if we get Cole Palmer injured, if we get Conor Gallagher injured for a number of games, do we have the ability to manage without them? Two, is it worth the risk? I think that the reward of giving players a chance in their stead to see, can we do it without them? One, it alleviates the risk of them getting injured. Two, it gives players a chance to show, I can also do this too, and we're not completely fucked if they get injured. And three, it's, I just don't see the upside of significantly more games in the FA Cup that I don't believe that we're going to win. We have to play those Premier League games anyway. FA Cup, we only go through if we win. I don't think overloading our players that are already playing every fucking game with significantly more, with even more games in the FA Cup, on the basis that we have an outside chance of winning it, but realistically, if we come up against Liverpool, we come up against City, we come against Arsenal, they are significantly better at managing games. And if we come up against them in the late rounds, I think we'll massively struggle because they manage games significantly better than we do. Even if I do think that in a one-off game in the Prem, we might be able to beat them. In a cup competition that they're desperate to win, I think they will manage games better than us and they're more experienced in that. And therefore, we will struggle even more than we would do in a normal Premier League game.
I get your comment about the opponents in the FA Cup. Well, I 100% get that. With regards to the injuries, yeah, granted, I think we would struggle if we lost Conor Gallagher and we lost Cole Palmer. But, you know, at the end of the day, because of the amount of injuries that we've already got, we're limited to what we can have and what we can't have in terms of who we can and who we can't use for those positions. And so if that does happen, that's when they get the opportunity. And realistically, if you look at the game, like the whole point of every tournament, of every game, is realistically you're supposed to play the strongest side that you can. You know, I get the point of playing certain players, but you know, at the end of the day, if Cole Potter, so what? But at the end of the day, with that logic, at the end of the day, if Noni's saying no, I'm only playing on the right, great. Then you can wait for Cole Palmer to get injured to get regular games. Because why should we sacrifice Cole Palmer? It doesn't need to be sacrificed to give someone a game who will only play in one position and wants to play in one position. When actually that player is better. When Cole Palmer is better than that player.
Squad management.
I personally don't think. I think the other thing as well is we saw it against Newcastle where we've played a good game, but we've still let in 2 goals, and we're then, you know, in the last 6 minutes of the game, well, no, more like 8 or 9 because of the extra time. We're on tenterhooks going, are we actually going to see this through? And I think that as a whole is game management. And I said this before. The reason that like Liverpool could bring on those youth players in the second half is because they still had key players that know how to, you know, manage a game and leadership to tell people what the fuck to do. And they have a style of play. This for me is a bigger conversation with regards to, we don't have really a style of play. We don't have a lot of leadership. Most of it is either injured or being phased out because they're leaving at the end of the season. And we don't have a style of play. So I think actually from that point of view, if we want momentum and we've got this, we've got to play our star players. And that's the thing. Like I said, you know, if Noni wants minutes, I'm like, great, cool. But if you want to be part of this team, then maybe you're going to have to make a sacrifice and play out on the left, where we don't have an out left winger that can do a great job week in, week out. Because otherwise, tell you what, we'll go out and find one. And the midfield, we haven't been able to rotate properly with midfield because of the sheer amount of injuries that we've had. And again, it's that age-old question of rushing players back when they're injured and then them potentially getting injured again. We've seen it happen enough times this season already. Reece James, granted, we didn't rush Chilwell back and it wasn't an injury straight away, but he's been re-injured. Nkuku, Lavia. I mean, Ugachukwu played for a bit. He's not even had the opportunity to come back because he's still injured. So I think it's just
alone.
What? Big Les.
Yeah.
He's still on the injury list.
Really?
He was on the last injury list I gave out. Yeah. Not for this one.
Right.
For Newcastle. He's been on the injury list for fucking ages. This is what we're saying. This is why we brought Cassadai back. But I personally believe if Cassadai was eligible to play, he'd be playing this game. I
Yeah.
truly believe that with what you've said, and I fully agree with what you're saying. I'm just saying I don't think we've got the full depth yet, and there's certain players I just don't think we can risk.
Fair.
That's what it is.
Agree to disagree time.
Well, you said you want me to fucking disagree with you more.
Finally.
Stand firm on that one.
Go along with what I say all the time.
Well, I agree because I actually agree.
Yeah.
But in this instance, I'm going to tell you no. So, with that, your score prediction
2-1.
2-1.
Yeah.
And who's going to get your 2 goals?
Carney Chukwuemeka.
Oh no, I'm not laughing. I'm not laughing because I don't think he can get a goal. I'm laughing because I just love the fact that after that little debate, you've gone, yeah, well, here's my your opinion. Carney's gonna get a fucking goal.
Yeah.
So we're gonna go 2-1, and you're gonna go with Carney.
And Nonny.
Why did I even fucking know? Do you know what? If you hadn't chosen them, I'd have fucking destroyed you for it. I would have fucking destroyed you for it. I'm gonna go 3-1.
Right.
I'm gonna go 3-1, so similar to this last result. And I am going to go with definitely putting Mudryk in. Because I'll put him in the middle. That's his best position. I am going to go for Jackson because I'm going to give him credit for the last game. And then I will also give it to Noni because I do feel like he can do, whether he's playing on the left or playing on the right, he's definitely got a goal in him. And I want to see a big performance from him because I am slightly worried about the winger situation at the moment. It could change in the future with depending on where Nkuku plays. If he can get fully fit, don't even get me started on fucking Lavia. And yeah, so I'll give it to Noni and I'll go 3-1 and I will go with Dewsbury Hall for the Leicester one. That's my gut feeling. So I just thought I'd throw
I
that.
think Vardy's going to have a party. A late consolation party.
I don't know. I just think I haven't seen him play for a while. I just think he might be a bit too slow now. And I think that we've got a fair amount of pace in that back line. So I think it's going to have to be an ease that tight finish to fucking get past us, not a long ball over the top like we used to see back in the day.
I think if we make a mistake, he's the one that's going to benefit. That's why.
No, I agree. I can just personally see us potentially being a little bit out of position on a counter attack, and Dewsbury Hall, he's quick, doing something special. That's just my gut feeling. So yeah, anything else that you would like to add to this episode? Lovely stuff. With that, thank you all for watching. Please like, share, comment, subscribe, hit that notification button, follow, and yeah, like we said, comment. Leave your score predictions, your rebuttal to any of our comments regarding what's more important, winning the FA Cup or getting a higher position in the Premier League, and how you feel about the rotation of players at the moment with the players that are actually available, which is not many. And yeah, please stay tuned for the post-game analysis. Thank you for watching.